I don't know. I just was trying not to be normally how I am, you know.
Why not? We need to see the normal, not the
Okay, but if
oh.
this is people's first impression of me, yeah, yeah.
No, they need to see. That better way they can get your books.
You not, okay, and this why I look like this today, Francie. Period.
All right. So introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are, and tell us what genres or genre you write in, and anything you want us to know before we get started.
Hello, my name is Naima, or author N.A. Sabreen, or Naima the author to Storm only, y'all. Only to Storm. I wrote this little book, Love's Last Song. It is available on my website and Kobo Plus. Paperbacks are available on my website as well. We don't really fool with the Amazon over here, but we're not going to talk about it. If you're looking for a black romance story about a musician and a producer falling in love through trials and tribulations, you should check it out.
Okay. Now you already know how I ask questions. As you saw, they was talking about I do those intellectual questions.
Um,
So follow along.
I got you.
All right. What you drinking?
What? Listen, I had to. You know, I don't drink for real, for real. I have to give me a little. Okay, you know, I'm with Storm. I have to give me a little something, but it's got a chaser in it because I don't drink for real, Storm.
I'm drinking water today.
I'm so proud of you.
I have no choice, but I'm drinking water today. All right. So, can you take us back to the exact moment when being a reader wasn't enough? When you realized the stories you wanted to see didn't exist and that it was you who needed to write them?
Um, so I've always been technically a writer. I started writing on Wattpad when Mindless Behavior and like Jacob Lattimore and Diggy Simmons were all like really popular, and so I
Mhm.
wrote fan fiction on Wattpad. Um, and then I kind of fell off. And then when I came into the bookish space, one of the first books I read wasn't a black author. It was a she was a BIPOC author.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, I would love to read this series, but in black. And I was like, you know, when you first get the book talk, you get that first layer of
Mhm.
white counterparts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I was like, I would love to see this in black. So I thought of her concept, but I was like, you know, I want to flip it, turn it into arranged marriages, turn it into like this big scandal about these four men living together. And like, and so that was where I was like, wanting it, and it was a contemporary romance. That's where I wanted it to go.
Mhm.
Did it happen like that? No, but that's where I was like, I was reading that series, and I was like, this would be so good if this was in black.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, black do bring flavor. Um, so why indie, not traditional publishing? What what was the emotional or strategic decision behind going independent? Was it about creative freedom, ownership, or something more personal? And how do you define success on your terms?
Okay, so I chose indie just because I saw a lot of the trad pub authors or those that were trying to go trad pub.
Mm,
Um, kind of the rejection, and I am very bad when it comes to rejection. I'm like get super depressed. I'm like, you don't see me for days on end, and I knew that just wasn't going to like be, I didn't want that to be like my future. Like, so I was like, okay, well, I don't want this to be define me if I'm going to go trad. So I just was like, you know
mhm.
what, I'm gonna go indie. And it's really been a interesting experience for me as an indie author. And then when I what I define success is people at having access to my book and being able to read it. Hey
Yeah,
Mal.
yeah. So I looked on your website because I be digging in y'all shit before I even get to thinking about y'all questions.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I saw Zora Neale Hurston's words live on your website.
yes.
What does her legacy and that of other legendary Black women storytellers mean to you as a new voice in today's literary world? Do you feel a responsibility to carry a specific torch?
Um, okay, let me. So, Zora Neale Hurston, Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, um, authors like that are really mean a big thing to me. They are the people that paved the way for me. And as someone who felt like at one point I didn't have a voice, to
Mm-hmm.
see those authors in trap, I'm not saying in trap, but in the stories, it made me want to be able to um, publish my own
Mm-hmm.
stories. And I don't know if it necessarily means that I want to carry a torch or a specific torch. I do want to continue on the legacy that they have built before me. If
Mm-hmm.
that is holding a torch, holding the light for others that come
Mm-hmm.
after me in my journey alone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in my journey alone, I have no problem doing that.
I say that y'all are building a lot of new authors. Y'all are building on foundations that were made, and y'all are continuing on legacies, even though a lot of dickheads don't want to see us thrive in the literary community. But hey, we're here. You should never brought us over on the boats.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So you wrote fan fiction before publishing original work in the indie space. How did fan fiction sharpen your storytelling skills? Were there aspects of that space, good or bad, that made you realize you were ready to create something completely your own? And what doesn't translate from fan fiction to indie publishing?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Writing fan fiction, you don't really have to create characters out. Like when I write my worlds now, I have to create a character from beginning to end. You
Mm-hmm.
already have in fan fiction, you already have an idea of what that person looks like. It could
Mm-hmm.
be um or Marion. Like these are people that you're just
Yeah.
writing fantasies about. And that kind of translates into writing your own worlds because this is a fantasy in your mind. This is your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
There are just some things that don't really like translate. Like, oh, he is like this super person. You in your mind, fan fiction is you wanting to be. This is how you think that this would happen in real life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some of the things in my books I do not want to happen in real life for real. I cannot. That's not. I'm good. I don't want that to happen.
So I believe that genre is fluid and but identity is rooted. Do you consider your stories contemporary fiction, urban fiction, or something genre bending? Do you write from culture or from character? Where does your inspiration begin?
Um. So I'm gonna answer the back end of that question and go forward. So the inspiration for Love's Last Song actually came from a song. It came from Guess Who I Saw Today by Samara Joy.
Mm,
Um, and it was the song was basically like the musician discovering her significant other cheating. And she's
mm.
like, hey, guess what I saw? Guess what I saw? I saw you. And it's like, oh, how would that, what does that translate into? And that's how Love's Last Song came to fruition.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to remember the rest of the question because Lord,
I be throwing it at y'all.
throwing it at me.
And the rest of the question was: do you consider your stories contemporary fiction, urban fiction, or something bending?
Um, I wanna say Love's Last Song is contemporary urban because there is the ending of the story where it does get real gritty where somebody has to go. I always tell people if that person got to go, they gonna go in my books. I don't care
Uh-uh.
if it's contemporary, if they fall in love, if them person if it's somebody bothering them, they got to go. So So I consider it a contemporary urban just because there's that little slither of, oh shit, did that really just happen? But
Yeah.
it's still very much they're falling in love at the end of this book. They have a
Mm,
happily ever after. So I would say that this particular book is a gender bending, but I want most of my books. I think the other works I have are more on the contemporary side.
yeah. So contemporary contemporary love and versus urban romance. What's the difference?
Okay, so to me, contemporary, you don't get you get the grit. You don't get most the grit that you get in urban.
Mm,
In urban, there, even though the definition of urban, we have our definition of urban, even, the city setting. When I think of urban, I think of going to the streets. I think of people, the selling, the dealing, folks on the street begging and things of like that sort.
mm-hmm.
And so when I'm thinking of urban, that's what I think of. When I think of contemporary, I think of the lightheartedness, the fluffiness that you get from your favorite pop song.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, how do they approach relationships, conflict, and community differences? And where does your heart land when you're writing romantic scenes?
In contemporary, I think that the community both have community.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm a big community person. So any book
Mm-hmm.
that you read for me, my people are gonna have a best friend, a group of friends, someone that they can rely on, older people that they can go to and ask, "Hey, am I doing this right?" or "Do what do you think?"
Mm-hmm.
The difference between the contemporary side is that they have the community
Mm-hmm.
at their forefront, like they're right there with them. And sometimes in urban, you have to go a little bit further out. They have to go to the jailhouse. They have to go. Sometimes they have to fight to get to where they need to be to talk to these people.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
Yeah.
so I think there's, like I said, contemporary gives me more lightheartedness, and then urban gives me the side of um I don't want to know hard. It's not hardship, but it's the gritty side. I'm not gonna call it
Yeah.
hardship because I refuse to call it. That's it.
Growth through struggle.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call it struggle. I refuse. That's
Well, I'm okay. Growth through circumstances.
yes,
Growth through
absolutely.
circumstances. All right. So you said you have wild reading tendencies. Can you unpack that for us? What's the most unexpected book you've loved and shared? And I need you to share your top pick in each category of urban, contemporary, and black classic literature.
Why would you do that to me?
Because it's me.
You don't like me for real.
I do. That's what I love y'all. See, y'all
You
be
don't like me, Storm.
y'all be, look, my questions is for y'all. They
I
tailored to y'all.
understand, but you don't like me for real. You want me to play three?
To read. Only three.
So I a lot of people, like I said, I used to read on the white side. I still read over there sometimes.
Me too.
Sometimes they be really it be messy over there. And I like to be messy. I love a good mess.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the books I read is Pen Pal. This young lady, the author is very problematic, but the book Pen Pal by J.T. Geisinger,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that book had me like, what, wait, what's going on in this book right here? Um, it was um, the story was just the story wasn't predictable. You couldn't tell what was going on until the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you got to the end, you were like, wait a minute, that, wait a minute. And I'm not going to spoil it because I'm not a person that spoils things, but like, you were like, wait a minute, that really happened? Did I really just read this? That's one. And then the other one is Blow Your Mind by Dominique Thomas. I don't know if y'all have ever read a Dominique Thomas book.
I don't know if you haven't. What's wrong with you?
But I would suggest Blow Your Mind by Dominique Thomas. The title is for real. Like that title is for real, for real. That book had me like, wait a minute. And at the end she was like, go back and read it from the beginning. Now that you know the ending. And I was like, I actually don't like this lady no more. I love Dominique Thomas, but I was like, you just, I never shut off my Kindle so fast from that book. But I really enjoyed it. So if you haven't read that book, Blow Your Mind by Dominique Thomas is another book where I was like, girl, did you really just do me like
But Dominique Thomas does that in her books. Even her fucking urban fictions, biker boy shit, she does
and
that.
I love the Burner Boys. The Burner Boys.
That
I am secretly petitioning for her and Sheree to write Pope's book
I
for
have
the
been
longest.
saying this.
I'm like, I like be like silently petitioning, like, come on, come on, like I just want Pope's book. He don't even have to fall in love for real. He can just, I just want to know his story
Yes.
because when I read a little bit of his backstory, and I was like, wait a minute, he only like, I think he's like 4 years older than the vice president. I was like, I thought this nigga was 50.
No.
So I was
No.
like, I need his story, but I'm back to the question. But Dominique Thomas is someone that I really admire. Her work, her and Sheree. So whenever I get a chance to, I'm always like, yeah, go read them because
Mm-hmm.
they gonna fuck your brain up. You
I
want
like that. I like that.
So you asked me to choose three, and
So one from urban fiction, one from contemporary romance, and one from black classic literature.
okay. If I wanted to choose one book that I've read in urban, um, I would have to pick. I think I would really like to pick, and I don't know if she's considered classic, but I really would. I want Wahida Clark's. It's not the Thug series. The Payback series.
Mhm.
The first book I read, Payback is a Mother by her.
That is
That gives
classic.
that that gives me like all of the urban. It was so messy. It was so gritty. You didn't like. I really enjoyed that book.
Mm-hmm.
I am going back and reading some things because I grew up in a household that was more catered towards faith and poetry and fictional worlds that like Greek mythology. So I'm going back and reading some of those classics, and so I really enjoyed that one. As far as black classics, I know it's probably like a little cliche, but I really enjoy. I know why the cage bird sings by Maya Angelou.
That's
Um, I just really enjoyed that. Really spoke to me. And then you contemporary,
mm-hmm.
black contemporary. Hmm. I don't think
You
what.
said Toni Morrison.
Yeah,
That is contemporary.
is she contemporary? But
Yeah.
I also like I said I haven't read much because I'm still educating myself
What about
on.
Casey Mills?
Haven't read a Casey Mills book.
Aisha Bree.
That's my girl.
That's contemporary
Actually,
romance.
yeah, and I don't really, yeah, she is contemporary. I was just like, I'm trying to go through all the Rolodex, but if we're talking about that, I think my favorite book from Black contemporary is Melanin in the City by Aisha Bree and C. Monet. That was, I really enjoyed that. That's what got me into reading Aisha Bree.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that her and C. Monet, I couldn't tell who wrote what in that series. Like there, it follows four sisters, and the four sisters are all going through something, and they're on top of their father passing. So there's like this thing that they're all trying to come together, but they're all separated because they have two different parents. They both sets have two different mothers, but they have the same father. So it's very like, and I really enjoyed that book.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I should read Summer Night, and you only let me choose one, but
Yep.
Kimberly Brown's over there too. I don't like this game.
It's just a random question.
No, I don't want to choose no more.
Okay. So, middle school poetry to adult romance.
Yeah.
You began with poetry. Do you think that early emotional honesty, putting feelings on papers, prepared you for the romantic vulnerability your characters go through now? Is poetry still part of your process?
Absolutely. Um, I used to journal and I used to write poetry. And putting my feelings on pages has always been a big part of my my thing. Whether it was pen, whether it was digital. I've always been a very emotional child. So like writing my feelings down has always been something that I needed to do. It was something that my therapist encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
And so from poetry to translating it into my character's emotions and my feelings, it's honestly the same thing, but I'm writing it from someone else's point of view. I'm writing it in someone else's shoes. So yes, it translates very well. And poetry, I still write poetry. I do have a poetry book that I'll probably publish sometime next year. And it's just a few and it's one of those books where it's a transition from teenagehood to adulthood, where you see the growth from being very boy crazy to having all of these feelings to starting my first like relationship, and then you get to adulthood and it's a two-parter. So it's like when you get to adulthood and it's all of these adult feelings and losing family members and all of those things. So hopefully next year I'll publish that, because
Okay.
I have to draw some of the um, pictures that go with it.
Because I got questions about you and your damn planning out books and shit. But we're gonna get to that. So reader to author mentality shift. Now that you're on the other side of the pen, oh,
Oh, that was my alarm to tell me to eat, but I ate already.
now that you're on the other side of the pen, how has your view of indie authorship changed? Has your respect for the hustle, the editing process, or the emotional labor deepened?
Okay. So, as a reader, there were a lot of indie authors that were very transparent about. They were very transparent about my coworker and my mom are in here. um, they was very transparent about all of it. I always say when people ask me, I'm always say I'm a student of the indie authors. Asia Monique is a person that was very transparent about, word count and things of those, as such. Um, the Grim Reaper's lawyer author Mia Monique, she was like, these are all the things I use. These are like my study guides that I use to write my book. Um, KGB, she was very transparent about, so you want to be, and she had a series of, so you want to be an indie author. And I would, sit there and I saved all of those videos and I would read them. But the way that I thought it was and how it is now it doesn't, correlate. So I thought it was just, as easy as going on design and creating an account and you're in there like swimwear. And it's not, it is absolutely not. So like the things that I thought would be easy were the hardest things. Like, okay, so like you had this plan, this is your plan, what's your backup plan? You don't have like, okay, now I have to create a backup plan, a plan C, a plan B, what happens if this goes down, so like I had an idea of what it was, but once I got over to this side I was like, oh, oh, this is not, it's not, and it's not what I thought it would be, but it is rewarding to me because at the end of the day, somebody gets to read my story. I get a message and I get a message and it's like, oh, I really enjoyed your story. When's the next story coming out? And I'm like, that's a good question. Um, Sometimes that's a good question. Sometimes, like my aunt, she just read my book and she was like, oh, yeah, she told my other auntie, she was like, yeah, my tell Nisi she had me staying up all night and I need the next book. And I was like, oh my goodness. So it's very validating in the times where I am like, I really did this and nothing's really happening, nothing's moving, nothing's shaking. But now it's like so like there's a part of me where it's like doubtful and like upset, but like the other part is like, girl, these folks, 100 people bought your ebook, like people are buying this paperback book, so it's a little like you don't know what it is until you step your foot into it.
That's true. What's been the hardest part of being a writer? Is it self doubt, consistency, marketing, or managing your voice versus what the market wants? What's tested your love for this the most?
Hmm. So one thing I am my biggest critic. And so for me, I think self doubt plays a really big part in when it comes to my writing because I'm like, okay, does this sound right? Is this flowing correctly? So I'm not necessarily like creative. Being a creator, marketing is another thing that I'm like, do I have to do this for real? Like I gotta do this every time I write a book. I can't just and I'm like, well, no, you can't do that because you're not on this platform. So now you gotta like, and so I'm always like, okay, self doubt is one of the things where I fight with the most, and it's mostly because I'm critiquing myself as a reader,
Mm-hmm.
author. I'm critiquing myself as both, and I have to say, okay, we're gonna shut that down. But it's self doubt, and then the will people like this, the marketing side. But I write for myself. I write for myself first, and those around me, and those that like it. If they don't, they don't. That's just how I've always been
Yeah.
in that particular aspect. But the self doubt and the marketing be kicking my ass. I ain't even gonna lie. They be kicking my ass.
Oh my God. So, what is love? What is black love?
Mm.
How do you define both personally and in your stories? And why do we still need both present and distinct in the literary world today?
Let me
Girl,
think.
I ain't asking no hard questions. Don't do me. Y'all gonna get off me and my questions.
Um, love to me is it's all, and I want to like I'm gonna do it a two-parter. So
Mm-hmm.
love in the partner aspect, your person, it's not necessarily all consuming, but it is something that you find. Let me get my words together. It's something that you see others and you want that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all consuming. It's you want that partnership, companionship,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you want to feel seen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Family wise, it's coming together. It's community. It's picking one up where they've fallen. Coming to one's aid when you know that they're in that state where nobody else can see them but you. So it's a sense of community in the family sense.
Mm-hmm.
Black love to me is all of those encompassed in one. Black love is community. Black love is all encompassing. I've seen, I have these people. My aunt, she's been married. Her and my mom have a bit of baby, but she's been married since my brother was young, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still married. My brother is 33. They're still married right now. My grandparents have been married for 35 years. I see that. I see the way that my grandfather caters to my grandmother. I see the way that my uncle, like, no matter what, he's there
Mm-hmm.
for me. That's what I want, and that's what I want my characters to have. So when you
Mm-hmm.
meet Sire and he's like, fix this shit immediately, and he, instead of somebody else fixing it, he goes to fix it himself. That's because I saw that. One of my best friends, her parents have been married for so long. I saw that. That's what I was raised on.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was raised on. So it's something that I'm always looking for, and I always want my characters to feel that. Whether
Yeah.
it is in the communal aspect, your friends, family, or it's in your partnership, you're going to feel love in my books.
Okay. So, was there ever a scene or a moment you wrote that scared you a little bit? It not because it was like dark or traumatic, but because it was true. What did you put on the page that surprised even you?
I won't say it surprised me, but there's a scene in the book where you know Micah's backstory. She's a foster child. Um, her parents have both passed away, and she is considered the black sheep because they consider her the reason why her parents passed away.
Mm.
Um, and in this scene, she has just gotten married. She's, you know, she's happy, she's a lady, and her biggest, I call him her biggest op, but her biggest op, she faces this person, and he's like, oh well, what he says is, you know, we're, you know, our grandchild are basically that she's the one that isn't in contact with them. And
Mm.
in actuality, it's them that's not in contact with her. They pushed her away. They sent her away, you know?
Mm.
So there was a scene and she lays into him and she's like, how dare you say this? I was the child. I was the child, you were the adult. And
Yeah.
it didn't surprise me, but it was a sense of relief because I have that's a situation that I went through, not necessarily, but I don't have a good relationship with my sperm donor. I never have. I'm his oldest daughter.
Mm.
So to me, it didn't surprise me when these words started flowing the way they did because this was my version of releasing him back to who
Mm.
he is because I am the child. I still am considered the child. You are the adult. There's no
Mm.
reason that I should be the one to contact you when I tell my mom all this time, you've been an adult my whole life. I'm
Mm.
just now an adult. So
Yeah.
I don't have that, like, so like that was one of the things where I was like, oh, okay, it didn't surprise me. I was like, okay, this is me getting
Mm.
him back into the world, you know.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. What are you hopeful for in this space as a debut author? What are you building? Not just for yourself, but for the readers, the culture, and the authors coming behind you.
Um, I want to show other authors or authors that come behind me, authors in general, that you don't have to have a big name behind you to be able to sell. I
Mm.
have I have zero Zon backing. You cannot find my book on the Zon at all. You can find it on my website.
Mm.
And 100 people have bought my book. No problem.
I love that.
So that you are able to sell your things without having something big, a big name behind you.
Yeah.
I want my fellow, I want the indies, that the baby authors that come behind me, to understand that it's a struggle. You know, it's the struggle is real out here, but you're gonna get through it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then as community rise, I want to be able to build community, for those of us that want, to get away from, you know, that
Yeah.
big company. Um, and then I don't know, what was the other part?
You answered
Oh,
it.
okay.
So, does the heart ever win over the mind when you're writing? Do you ever have moments where you try to plan, but emotions take over and suddenly the story demands a different direction?
Lots of times. I am a person that my planning is not a planning for real. The way that I do my characters is that I know everything about them, but I don't plan out the story.
Mm.
I allow them to tell me what this I allow them to tell me what goes on.
Mm.
Um so my most of the times the heart wins when I'm writing, like,
Yeah.
because that is what I'm not planning out. I tried to plan out a story and I was like, I hate this real bad. I hate this real bad. I don't like this. So when I start stop following the outline and allowing the characters to
Mm.
do what they want, he
Mm.
always that's how Love's Last Song came to fruition. I said, what would happen? What does this look like on the other end? And a
Yeah.
character, Micah, was like, "Hey Z." Micah was like, "That happened to me." I was like, "Who is me?"
Mm.
And that's how it came to fruition.
Mm.
And that's how I got this story. Did I have to fight with this lady about being a third person and her man is talking to me in first person? Yes. But we fixed it in the end, you know, but that's how I'm not a person that plans.
Yeah.
I'm a pantser through and through. Would that bite me in the butt eventually down the line? At this point, I don't really. I let the heart talk.
So tell us about the woman in your story, the women in your story. Who are they at their core? How do they break molds, reclaim softness, or show strength in a way that reflects your own experiences or the woman that you admire?
I'm not even gonna lie. So my characters will stress you out.
Tylee just said something about
They will. They will stress you out. My characters will stress you out because they, true to me, fashion. They are super independent. They are just like, because that's what I saw first.
Mhm.
So they're super independent, and it's hard to get them into. It's hard to get them into these soft. I'm using
Yeah.
soft loosely. These phases where they've been through a lot. Micah, I'm going to use her as an example. Micah, she fought she fought Sire a little bit um at the beginning because she's like, I understand what's going on, but I just don't like, I don't want this to be like, I don't want to jump into another relationship while
Mhm.
I'm actively healing from my
Yeah.
last relationship. But also I know I need your help. Um most of my female characters are gonna stress you out. You're gonna be like, did she really just? She did.
Um,
They're gonna, but they're at the end, they're being set up to be able to be soft. They're set up to be able to be
mm,
not, and I don't want to say taken care of, but their mental health, their mental and their spiritual and their hearts taken care of.
yeah.
If her and her man arguing about who paying the bills and he just let her pay the bills because he don't feel like arguing with her, that's gonna happen. But I model them after me because I that is what I want. Anytime you read a story, this is what I want in this is what I want as someone who is a single independent woman. This is
Mm-hmm.
what I want in my own story. Not the taking folks out. Let's be clear. Let's be clear, not to taking folks out. But I want this kind of love. So I write this kind of love
Yeah.
to um write it into fruition for myself.
Yeah.
I also model them. Some of them, like, they're gonna have depression. They're gonna have mental health problems. I have mental health problems. Like, they're,
Same.
they're gonna be sad, but there's always gonna be somebody to pick them up. Sire did it one time. I was laughing because I was rereading it over for my book proof, and I was like, he really caught this girl funky for real. Like, he really told her she was funky, and he just went on about his business, you know. So I
Mhm.
want it to be real because that's what it is, you
And
know.
I like that. Realism is always a go to with me. I know some of the book girls be like, I'm trying to escape. Well, bitch, this is not Harriet Tubman. Sorry, mama. This is not the Underground Railroad.
Because
And you can
she kept on
escape a
top.
different. This is not the Underground Railroad, people. We don't need to escape. All right. I want a little realism in my books. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and that's how I felt. I was like, she gonna be depressed because that's what happens when somebody steal all your money. You gonna be sad. You gonna be upset. But I'm gonna let him come in here and tell her get up. Fuck niggas get money.
That part. So now let's talk about the men.
Okay.
What's the sexiest thing about the male characters you write that has nothing to do with abs or alpha behavior? What defines their masculinity in your work?
They take
Y'all thought I was going to be talking about sex. Ha.
they take care of the female lead,
Mm-hmm.
and not in a non-sexual way. You're
Mm-hmm.
always gonna find a character. My male character is always gonna do something that I consider very intimate. Like,
Mm-hmm.
she may be asleep on the couch. He may pick her up and take her to the bed just because, like, just because
Mm.
he wants to sleep next to her. He
Yeah.
might, they might get into the shower together. They not even having sex. They just washing each other.
Mm.
like because he can feel how he can feel her emotions, and if he
Mm.
can take care of anything that she of what she needs in the moment, that's the most sexiest thing to me. In one of my works in progress, he pays for her lashes. She don't even know about it. he
Okay.
pays he pays for her lashes just because he likes the way they look on her. He pays for her hair just because he likes the way it looks on her. Like,
Mm.
to me, taking care of your partner is just something. It's something that's sexy about knowing your partner enough to know when they need something. And that's just
Mm.
how all of my male leads are. Now there are some of them where you're gonna be like, bruh, don't piss me off. But there are others that'll be like, yeah, I like him real bad.
So, do you write for a happily ever after or a happily right now? Is love in your books meant to feel lasting or immediate? Immediate. Do you believe in closure or do you prefer realism?
Hmm. So I
What
write
was that pause? What was that pause?
because there's a book I have that's just how it is. Like, it's gonna be released in the fall, and the book is just how it is. There's no, oh, they get together. There's no, oh, forcing them. When I wrote that story, this is a story I wrote last year. There's a story I wrote last year, 2 years ago. This is 2023. I wrote a story last year, and it is a story where they're supposed to be together at the end of this book. And I got to the end of the book, and they were like, no. So I write for happily ever afters. Do I get happily ever afters? No. So I want it to be as real as possible. I'm
Mm.
sorry. Them folks told me that they not together no more. They literally ended up becoming best friends. What are you talking about? No, I can't. I can't help you. You know, like, where do you
Damn.
like
Damn.
like? And I can't. There's nothing that I can do about it. Like, I'll try and give them an epilogue, and when I try to when I tried to write this happily ever after, it didn't feel right.
Ah, you
It
gonna
didn't
be pissing me
feel.
off. I see that. I see that right now. You gonna be you worrying about my questions. I'm worried about your books. What the fuck?
It's okay, Storm. It's okay. I can. I don't. Shannon said it was good. Shannon read it. She
I don't
said.
trust Shannon like dark romance to the point that that shit is creepy. I don't trust that.
Shannon said it was good.
Yo,
I'm just saying. I write the way that I write is. Does it flow? Is this book flowing enough for it to be a happily ever after? If it is not a happily ever after, that's I'm gonna write it how the characters tell me. Because
um,
writing things that aren't happily, like writing things that don't fit with the story, is not
yeah,
something I'm gonna do.
man, you might as well leave that shit on a cliffhanger then because fuck that. I
It's not. I don't. It's not even gonna be a cliffhanger. I just think that once we read the story, you're like, oh, okay, the female lead's gonna piss you off. She's very will they. Am I in love with him? Am I not in love with him? Where he's like, this is it for me, and then when he realizes this is not it for this is not it for her, that's when he falls back. And that's when it's like, okay, now we're about to see what's really about to happen for real.
okay, okay. You've already started plotting two fucking books already.
Technically, I have multiple works in progress. I told you I started a whole series about a black heirs to a throne.
Girl, how does that impact you creatively? Does planning make you feel in control, or do the characters still take the reins and surprise you? Ah.
I went to a work one time, and it's really funny because I have I've been writing, attempting to publish or writing since 2023.
Mm.
2022, I lied. 2022. So that's 3 years. Um, and I still go into books right now, into works in progress right now, and I'll be reading over it, and I'll get tidbits information that I'm like, bro, this changes the whole other story that I'm supposed to be writing over here.
Mm.
So yes, the characters still take over. They're still there, even if they're not talking to me. I always say they're not talking to me right now, but I know if I open this document, they just gonna run their mouth.
Hmm. Where do you see yourself in 5 years as an author? What kind of stories will you be telling, you think? And will you expand into new paranormal genres, media, or publishing opportunities?
You funny, Storm. You in this paranormal. You gonna ask everybody about a name paranormal?
Yes! I'm not letting
It's
until
really
every black
funny.
author write a goddamn paranormal. I'm gonna
You're
keep
so funny,
asking
bro. So in 5 years, I'm hoping to have multiple works published. I would like to be a hybrid author,
you.
trad, trad, half indie.
Hmm.
Right. Kimmy just threw that on in there. She gonna ask everybody. I will. I want to be able to not. No, I'm saying I'm always gonna promote, but I want to be able to be like, oh, I dropped the book. Merry Christmas. And people just run to the website and snatch it up. As far as other genres, I would like to dip my toe in other genres. I first, as somebody who's a researcher first, I would have to read those books and actually, like to get to a point where I'm comfortable in actually um writing something like that. As far as paranormal goes, I do have a paranormal. I told you I have multiple works in progress, Storm. You just I do have it's two books. If you I know you went down my page, but if you go down my page, I made a little post one time and I was like, I want this, but I want somebody else to write this. And everybody in the comments was like, oh yeah, so when you write that, let me know so I can read it. I was like, but I posted this so other people could, you know what? It's fine. But yes, I do have it's werewolf. I think the first book in that series is a werewolf and a panther shifter, and then the other one is like a love triangle kind of thing, where it's two alphas and I think a beta.
Girl, you speaking my language. Come on. Come on
Yeah. I haven't gotten back to them, but yeah, the first one is like a rejected fated mates, but they didn't.
now.
The humans rejected each other, but the animalistic part didn't reject each other. So when they return after that, they realize that they didn't reject each other. It's like this whole thing. They're with their chosen mates,
Why,
all partners. Now
why
why?
does it feel like it's gonna be complicated? Why it
All of
feel
my
like
books are all of
what?
my books are complicated, Storm.
Why does this feel like I'm about to be so mad? I'm gonna be like, give me your phone number so I can text you. Cause I feel like they'll ban me from TikTok. So give me your phone number so I can tell
I
you.
mean, all of my stories are complicated a little bit. The one that's coming out in the summer is really complicated, and I don't. That's the one I'm fighting with right now, really badly. But that story is a brother's brother, boyfriend's brother's story.
Mm,
Yeah,
You one of
it's
them authors.
it's real good though. Like,
Oh God. All right. All right. Let's talk about marketing. What's the reality? As a new author in the romance genre, what surprised you? Surprise, surprise. Surprised you about promoting your work? What felt easier or harder than you expected?
um, I mean, as like I saw how much authors were promoting
Mm-hmm.
as a new author, realizing how much you have to promote. Like there are days where I fall off the internet and nobody like I'm off the grid because I just don't feel like posting. But
Mm-hmm.
they're consistent. Authors are consistently posting. Especially if you're an indie author, you're trying to get your readership up. You're trying to get all of these things up,
Mm-hmm.
and because you're new, um, I think one of the biggest things that kind of surprised me is that when I first said, and I was on my reader page, and I was like, boom, I'm writing a book. And then the support was, like all the readers like, oh yeah, I love that. I love it, and
Mm-hmm.
then when I transitioned to the author side, because I'm someone that is big on you know, removing myself from the reader space once I became an author.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Once I got on the author side and I, was like, boom, it was like, oh, you're starting from the ground up. Like you you have like you're starting from the ground up. You're having to find your readers, no matter
Yeah.
how many people you're cool with, no matter how many people like people there are people that will support you no matter where you go.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what platform you go to. There are people that are strictly KU readers. I have nothing against them. They pay for a subscription. I pay for their subscription too. I was like that, but I also got to a point where I understood that not everybody can, not like buying directly from the author supports them. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, as a new author, marketing is everything because you're having to market yourself. You're not only marketing your book, but you're marketing yourself.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, hey, I wrote this book. I think you'll like it because ABCXYZ. I
Yeah.
think the easiest part of marketing is just going in Canva. And sometimes that's kind of hard too, especially if you're on a creative block, but going into Canva and creating graphics sometimes it's just sometimes you can turn your brain off and just create graphics sometimes and
Yeah.
it hits and it doesn't.
Yeah. He said Canva is my enemy. You know what? As I'm going into my editing video phase of life, on top of all the other shit I got going on,
Mhm.
I find Canva to be an easy tool for me.
It is the most easiest tool to use, especially if you have Canva Pro.
Mm-hmm. That's what I have.
Canva is the reason why I went ahead and bought Canva Pro.
It's good.
Um, because it's so the free things, but the things that you get with Pro are so easy to use, and there are so many
Mm-hmm.
people that are like doing tutorials. Like on my pay author page, there's like people that are like, oh, here are some Canva hacks that you didn't know about. So like it's
Mm-hmm.
such an easy platform to use, especially that now that they keep like updating it. Now that they've updated it to what it is now, I really enjoyed the new update.
Yeah.
I haven't used it much because I've been writing, but I really do enjoy it when I do get a chance to go over
I use it often. Why
there.
y'all getting these theatrical videos all of a sudden?
They're good. I mean, I'll be reposting them.
um, your book is out, right?
It is.
So, before I ask this next question, I want to ask this. Without spoilers, give us a quick synopsis of your debut book. What can readers expect emotionally, thematically, and culturally from the book?
Okay. Um, Love's Last Song. It follows Micah and Sayer. They are a producer and a musician. She's a singer songwriter. She has passed, and he is just there. He's so enamored with her from the moment she signed to the label, but he found himself himself because she was in a relationship. Now that
Mm,
she's out of that relationship, all bets are off, and anything that comes their way, he's there to guide her and help her.
mm-hmm.
It's messy. There's some mess in there. You know, it's got a little drama. There is a little unhingedness, but at the end of the day, they do get a happily ever after.
Mm. Okay, you said it. I get it happily ever after. That's all that matters. That's all that
You might,
matters.
you might, when you read this, I might have to turn my DMs off because I feel like once you get to that part where I'm not gonna spoil, but once you get to that certain part, you're gonna be like, now I know for a motherfucking fact you didn't do that to that girl. I'll be
Let me get back on my Kobo because I have Kobo too. Cause I be stalking y'all on all platforms.
yeah,
So
I'm still learning that platform, but I also didn't know KU like that. But
send
yeah,
me send me when we get off of here, send me how to get to your book.
I got you.
Cause that way I don't be sitting here trying to throw something trying to get to your
I got
book.
you, man. I
Okay.
I just posted it earlier, so I
All
got
right. Give us the let the readers know where they can find your book, how we can support your book, how we can support you as an author. If they can't afford to buy the book but still want to support you, how can they do all these things for you as a debut author?
If you cannot afford the book, you can repost all of my repost my posts. I have multiple Love's Last Song posts on my TikTok. I am after this interview, I will be transitioning over to my author page. Follow me, subscribe to my newsletter. I'll be I'll be giving away free books here soon, just because I just like to do that sometimes.
Everybody
If
like free
you,
books.
I know everybody likes free books. My website is nasabreen.com. That's where you can find the ebook version, and the paperback version is available for purchase. If if you cannot do any of those things, like I said, one of the best things for authors, especially a small indie debut author, is reposting to your following in order for that person to get more views, because word of mouth is everything, especially on TikTok. Booktalk as a whole, um, word is everything. And even if you can't support me, there's going to be somebody that sees this book and it's like, oh, let me go support them. So
Gotcha. All right. I want to know what events do you want to go to? What events do you are you going to have virtual events? Are you going to have in-person events? What events are you wanting to go to so people can engage with you on a personable level as an author to reader, meet?
it's really funny because I went to the 4Bs in March,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't realize people were like looking. And so I was talking to Dandridge Monroe, and we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about design, and somebody was like, "Didn't you just release a book?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I did. I did. And so like that was really interesting to see. Like I was a reader, but it was like, oh shoot, I'm an author out here for real. Ooh. But I want to do virtual event. I don't really. I've seen there's an author. She's one of the first authors I read to get back into reading. She does virtual events where she meets and greets and people buy her books. So if that
Mm-hmm.
was one of the things, something I would do, I would love to do that. I don't really have big things. In 2026, I just posted, I want to dip my toe into one book event in 2026. But I really want to, because by then I'll have at least 4 books.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even if I had one book, I would still like,
Yeah.
for a book event. I do want to attend Black Romance Book Fest as an author,
Mm-hmm.
just because Black Romance, I am a Black author. I write Black
You
romance.
are.
Of course, I want to do Boozy Book Tour at least once. I got to get my drink tolerance up because I don't be drinking for real. Y'all be drinking for real. Oh no, I'm gonna have to look on
You're
that.
gonna have that one. You just gonna have to pick and choose a theme that you
I'm,
want to go to.
I'm gonna have to work on that. Another one I would like to go to, obviously the 4Bs. The four Mesquite is
Mm-hmm.
4 hours from me, so like
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing really. It's not that far. I would like to do an event. Like I would like to do local events. I did do Independent Bookstore Day was earlier.
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Independent Bookstore Day was last month, and my mom, she's in here, but she came and she's like, "It's Independent Bookstore Day. You got a book? We finna go to this independent bookstore, which is a local independent bookstore." And people were asking me about my book, and I told them about it. So like, I would love to do local events. I would like to go to the house party.
Mm.
I would like to go to the house party.
You
Because
and me both.
Alexandria House is from Arkansas, and I just feel like as a native Arkansan, that I just feel like that's
You and me both.
That's it's a native Arcans, and I feel like I should at least go to at least one as an author. But I think, and then Southern Hearts and Sign Kisses, just
Mm.
because I've been to that
You and
event.
me both. Cause
So
every time, cause y'all be selling out them tickets so damn fast.
I did, in fact, purchase as soon as that site was up. I purchased my ticket because I
I
was
turn
like,
her, I just blink. Oh, sold out.
that's how I felt about Black Romance Book Fest though, because I was like, dang, I can't get no 2 day pass for real.
I'm gonna wait on that one. I'm gonna see how the introverts feel because I'm too
That's
introverted to go to something that big.
that's what my biggest thing is. Like, I want to go. There's a like Indie Love. I would do something like Indie Love,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that's a little smaller scale, but the readership that you would be able to gain at Black
Yeah.
Romance
Yeah.
is something. And I, from what I've seen, Lauren and her team have really been like really promoting it and really like
Yeah.
pushing for it. So like I'm gonna have to figure it out because I do get anxiety real bad. So
I mean, they might be the next. They might take the reins from the Essence Festival.
oh yeah. That's another. I don't know. I don't think I would want to do Essence Festival as
I would never want to do Essence Festival.
my mom.
And
That what? But yeah, I'm thinking. I am. I haven't.
I
Really,
do post book events on my page. You just gotta tell me. But you should go to Jaleesa's page.
Mallory, I'm gonna message you about the other book event page that you
Yeah.
can get. That's my home girl. My
Oh,
home is college. She is down there. And my mom and my homeboy are down here talking too. But yeah, those are just the things. And in 2027, I do want to go to the 4Bs as an author. But
I
those
want to go as a reader. Shit, y'all be
I went as a reader, and Monica Walters did the damn thing, and I just
once again y'all be selling out these tickets.
okay. First of all, I did not sell out that ticket. I bought mine last minute. Not really, but like I bought it in December. I bought it in December, friend. When I want to be one of those people, I love going to inaugural events. That's why I'm so sad about not going to Black Romance Book Fest. Because
Mm,
like I love to see the development, and I think
mm.
this is something I do as my mom is a Tali, if I can get these tickets to Chicago, we can
You
begin the
trying to come to the
money.
Boozy Book Tour in Chicago?
I'm trying to. If I can get these book tickets in Chicago, friend, I will be there.
That place gonna be nuts.
I
Uh,
know. And then I'm hoping. I don't want to do both events, but like the Melanin Ball, because I missed the Melanin Ball this year because my best friend's birthday is around the time I do Melanin Ball.
oh, you talking about in Vegas or Melanie Ball Vegas?
I ain't never
That's
been to Vegas before, friend.
that is. I'm gonna tell you that Melanin Ball. And I don't want to cut into your time, but I
Hmm.
just want to thank everybody that supported the Melanin Ball because it's a black space. This is our second one. It's happening in Vegas. We get to cater to y'all because y'all getting drove around by a party bus on the first day to different
I
events.
love that, and I
And
will make sure I'm in attendance.
just to explore black culture in the sense that we get to say, hey, Black Hollywood existed, so we finna have a pajama party and we're gonna party all night long. We get to have a award show. We get to do all these things. And
I
we get to do it
was
in Vegas.
I saw so many things about Tulsa, and I was like, I am very much jealous.
There was ass everywhere.
I'm jealous, but no, I really I'm debating on. Me and my mom were talking about it if I wanted to do because I don't have white shoes, so I can't really do Seattle. But I was like,
Mhm.
do you want to fly to Denver?
You gonna bring moms to a BDSM dungeon?
First of all, wait a minute, hold on. She don't have to be there the whole time, but it was talking about if we wanted to do a vending, if we want to be vending it.
Let me take the microphone off the stand.
She she will be fine. She is not gonna die.
Mom, um,
She will be okay.
Naima did this. All right, okay. It's it's gonna be a great event, but Naima did this. Okay.
Cameron, don't stress me out, please. If there, I'm actually trying to see. We're trying to see which ones because she's been to Vegas. I haven't, so I'm like, yeah, I really want to enjoy Denver as like a author onlooker because
Mm-hmm.
I am into like BDSM and I want to kind of get into that culture more. Um, but I'm also like, do I want to what do I want to do? Because I do want to gain more readers, so I'm trying to figure that out on that end. But
Can I give you some advice? As a book host and me podcasting and what I've seen and what I've heard, I feel like you should go to the event that is best suited for your genre. It
mm-hmm.
is great to go to open book events that support everyone, but you're building your fan base. You know what I'm saying? And there are so many events that are tailored to contemporary romance, tailored to urban fiction, tailored to everybody, tailored to the introverted. Go where just really research it and see how it is
And that's
first. Don't jump into things too fast because then you have authors that'll go to events and they sell nothing.
mm-hmm.
And people walk past them because they're new, because they're only there to see certain authors. And then you have events that are open, but they're smaller or they're bigger, but they're for everyone. And those readers are looking for everyone. So just do your due diligence, do your research, and don't rush into events. Peep them out. You can even go as a reader, so you can be like,
That's what I was doing. I always go to stuff as a reader first because I'm a reader first, and I'm a big fan girl, you know. But I always try when I went to Southern Hearts, I tried to buy from every author that I didn't know, and it
mm,
was like maybe one. I think I missed Casey Mills then.
mm,
I read a
mm,
Casey Mills book, and then I bought from Nina. I had never read a Nina book before,
mm,
but I bought her novella,
mm,
and I regret her book. She writes very well. I regret not standing in line, but she sold out. She's one of those
mm.
authors that like sells out, and she not selling her books right now. So like,
Yeah.
I'm real sad about that. But she gonna be at Southern Heart, so I might stand in line for real.
So
Like,
I'm gonna ask you this question. This is my final question. I'm gonna ask you before I get into church announcements because Storm
for
just
church
has.
announcements, I love the church announcements.
I don't. Every time y'all be seeing my face, like I be over this shit.
I love the church announcements.
But because Storm got to lay down, she just had surgery today.
Yeah,
So,
you do. You got to go take her to sleep.
but what as you're an author, so guess what? What advice to aspiring Black writers? What would you say to someone who feels called to write but doesn't know how to start or whether they'll be accepted in the space?
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell them what I should have told myself
Mm.
when I first started this. Open your mouth.
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
there are so many people in the community that are open and willing to help. Open your mouth. Um, there are plenty of people that are happy to guide you through certain aspects. Because some things are canon. You have to follow your butt at least
Mm.
once as an indie. But some open your mouth. There are so many people that are happy to help you, and as much as I say, oh, this is I'm cool with such and such, such and such, or such, I'm okay. Like these are my favorite people.
Mm.
When I started this journey and I got through that first hurdle, if I would have asked somebody,
Mm.
I would
Mm.
have just opened my mouth. Um, I'm not gonna say it would have changed. It would have changed it, but had I opened my mouth, I believe that the outcome would have been different.
Mm.
So open your mouth. Don't be afraid of asking people. There are some people that are snotty. There are some people that are rude that are gonna, look at you like look down upon you. But there are people out here that will genuinely looking to see you win, looking
Mhm.
for new. The black indie author space is
Mm.
vast. It's vast.
Mhm.
Just because what you're writing somebody else has already written, they ain't wrote it like you. It's three. It's I read 3 books last year with the same premise. And guess what?
Mm.
They ain't write it like me. You know, like open your mouth. Don't be afraid to ask someone, hey, how did this work? Because the worst thing they can do is say no.
Yeah. And I want to say, you as a Black woman coming into this space, do you feel that maybe your voice is even louder because of your pen?
I feel like my voice is louder now that I have published a book, especially when it comes to like the way that mental health is looked at.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that first interaction is a depressive episode. It is, hey, get up. And even though he doesn't handle it how some people would handle it, he handles it in his own way. So, like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
I do think my voice is being heard. Um, I can't wait for other people to continue to see my voice and hear the things that I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be me talking bad to a parent, me talking bad to a ex that won't leave you alone, me telling my person who I thought my person that we can't do this anymore. I just hope that people see me and see this. And I feel like now that I've gotten that first book out there, I'm ready to, let these people have it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into these goddamn announcements. Joy. Um Joy. But I'm gonna switch it up and I'm gonna start